talk reef stuff.
Let's do that.
We can still stay on me because I can talk about what happened to my systems while I was gone.
Okay, wait, let me set that up.
Okay.
Because you went and you had, I'm going to botch it, but what's his name?
Patrick Carter.
Patrick. Sorry, Patrick. So I'm at home and I get a phone call and I guess it said Patrick, but, and it, it might've said like San Francisco or something like that. And I'm like, who, and it's the weekend. So I was like, who is this? So I didn't pay attention. And then our friend Kenny from High Tide Aquatics got on Messenger and was like, Ben, Patrick is Richard's guy and he's trying to call you if you could find the time. And I was like, oh, okay. So I called Patrick back and he was like, bro. And he was like, something's happening with Richard's like end of the line system. So like throughout the day,
it was the frag tank.
Okay,
which
good.
is set up kind of like the end. I'm sorry. I should shut up and let you finish.
No, but it was crazy because like some things were melting and, what happened? Like some of the, maybe a doser stopped working and wasn't transferring. And so the water came down and the circulation pumps got a hold of that and frothed the water. And then it killed a fish because it was just micro bubbles everywhere. It killed a fish and then the fish degraded from ammonia. And then it started, it sets off a chain reaction. You had stuff dying. Well, the tricky thing, I think Patrick is like a freshwater guy. And so he's like, there's this thing over here. It looks like it's melting. I'm not sure and I started thinking critically because I'm like, dude, I just don't want to sit here and telling you what to like yank out of Richard's tank and I can't see it. And it's like, Richard's like, you dodo, why'd you have him throw that away? And so I told him, just make sure it's isolated from the rest of the system. If you see something that's obviously melting, pull that and we'll just deal with what Richard thinks of it later. And then I said, maybe do a couple massive water changes. And then there was a thing with your salinity, though, and I'm glad I talked to Patrick on this because, man, I was trying to be super judicious because, Jesus Christ, this is Richard Ross's tank. And now not only was Patrick afraid of fucking it up, but then I got looped into it, and I was like, what if I fucking, by my advice, like, kill Richard's tank? So he was going to change the salinity, and I was like, but be very careful. Like Richard, just like I am, is very particular about how the salinity is read. And then also I said, I said, be sure and zero that and check it. And if it does need to be moved, I told him this certain amount. And I said, I would want to move this slowly, like change 20 gallons with fresh water, give it several hours and then check it. And he was going to do double that before I had said something. So I was glad that I said something. But and in the back of my head, I was like, I don't even know if we should move his salinity,
Yeah. So that's the frag tank that's under the house. It's 12 inches tall and it's on the ground. So water exchange is done by 2 dose pumps, one in and one out.
Okay.
So it looks like I haven't really looked at it yet. But it looks like the in had stopped. So that dose had borked for some reason and wasn't pumping new water in. Or it wasn't pumping new water out. It could be either way because there's a sensor on there, so it would turn one of those off. And here, this is cool. I'm in Africa. My brain is working pretty good now. I'm having a great time. I'm not feeling guilty. I'm present. I'm not worried about anything. I saw some alerts from the frag tank. I went, it's a frag tank. Who cares? Right?
Okay.
I just went, I don't, Now, the other part of that frag tank is in the last year of being whatever my brain was, I've been ignoring it. So it's mostly zoas that no one cares about and Mahanos.
Okay.
And some Gorgonians. So there was nothing magical in there.
I saw a quick video and I made a judgment call when I was like, looks like a bunch of crap.
It was a bunch of crap. Oh, and a lot of green star polyps. Because stuff is
it's gone.
It's the cockroach of reef keeping.
You should have still told Patrick it was the most important shit in your house.
No, oh no. Patrick was so worried. And I wrote to him when he was like, oh, something's going on here. He sent me a video and it's just like, just milk water and just horrible. And I was like, just isolate it, pull the dose heads off, I turned the dose off in case something was going on, but I was like, just, and whatever. I was like, don't even do water changes. Just fucking leave it.
Okay.
And,
Because he was talking about being there like half a day, and I was like,
yeah,
I
well,
don't know, dude.
it may have been after, uh, it may have been a couple days till I saw that and was able to get back to him. And, so he did water changes, and he said, no, I don't, you can't have this stinky mess under your house anyway. Right. So he did some water changes and it was great. And, that's what happened. I didn't know you were involved till yesterday.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being involved. And so normally before I go on vacation, I change all the dose heads, right? But I was in no place to do that, so I just let it ride.
So one of the dose heads got a leak?
It seems like one of them blocked up or got a leak or a sensor went bad, or like I say, I haven't really sleuthed it out yet.
Yeah.
But there's no more green star polyps or Mahanos.
Well, here, this is exactly what I have this for. It's a little tiny fiddle. It's Mahanos and GSP. No one gives a fuck.
No one gives a fuck. It's actually kind of great because now I don't have to clean it out myself. Because I was either going to take it offline or get it cleaned out, because what's the point?
But it's so great that me and Patrick were skitzing out about it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the skitzing out. And even after I told him, don't worry about it, just isolate it, he just, I want to do a good job. And it was like, dude, it's fine. Trust me. Everything else is okay. And the salinity, I walked him through the salinity too. The salinity needed to come down.
Oh, okay, good.
So that's good. And I will make that much easier for people in the future when I'm gone. Because it does tend to creep up. I think I just forgot to mention that it creeps up, and this is what you do.
It's like it was his first day at the hospital, and he was triaging, and someone threw a 99-year-old in the mix.
Pretty much. Although he's gone through some other shit with my tank and on other trips.
Yeah.
But as problems go, pretty low key and unimpactful at the end.
In my head, I felt like the most important thing was make sure that system has nothing to do with the rest of the system. So if it burns to the ground, let it do it isolated. That was my main thing.
That's simpatico, my brother.
Yeah.
I was like, isolate it. And then
because I looked in at it and I was like, I don't see anything of consequence. Just let it.
There's one fox face I'm sad about. Yeah. But I was the same way. He showed me everything else and I went, oh, everything else is good. And then the salinity was like a week later, I think.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So what's the takeaway from all that? Do your maintenance before you leave if you can. And if you can't, make sure you have a tank setter and people on deck who are willing to help, because you're not there.
Yeah, your tank has so many variables. Like, that's just impossible.
I was saying yesterday, I saw Patrick and Kenny yesterday, Kenny from High Tide Aquatics, and was saying my tank is the simplest run, most complicated system ever.
It's the most complicated system ever, and in your head it's the simplest run. But if you take someone underneath your house and say, look, and people are,
I'm sorry, people are like,
no, I was just, people are screaming and crying and clawing their way out of your bottom dungeon.
What I mean is the philosophy behind the system is kind of drop dead simple.
Okay.
Right? Water changes and a skimmer, essentially.
Yeah.
That's my method. There's more to it than that, but that's kind of it.
With 8 miles of tubing and
well, but then how I put all the different systems and tanks together, is a pile of dumb. That's why I think if I don't do it myself, I need to get help over here because it'll be more fun. Look, I want to hang out with people.
Yeah. Let's do it. I'll bring my meat.
I want to do redo all the RO tubing, all the lines that go everywhere, and color code everything.
This is a new Richard.
It is. I thank you. So I'm going to look up all the different colors of tubing I can get.
Chartreuse.
And if there's not enough colors, we'll paint them.
Lavender.
And it'll just make it easier.
Ochre.
Ochre. Burnt sienna.
Burnt sienna. If they don't have burnt sienna tubing, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, burnt sienna is a good color for my eyes. Jesus.
Raw umber.
So, yeah, we've talked about prepping for vacation and all that kind of stuff. Do it. Label your shit if you can. Just like with disaster planning, now is the time to do all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Now is the time.